Lamentations chapter 3 verses 22 and 23 says, "The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness." We've spent this series talking about faith, our faith in action, how we live it out and how we keep it alive. But today, I want to shift our focus, because faith isn't just about what we do, it's about who we trust. And the foundation of our faith? God's faithfulness in action. The Bible is filled with story after story proving that God has never failed. His promises never break, His love never runs out, His mercy is new every morning. So today, I don't want to just talk about faith, I want to declare the faithfulness of God. Because when you and I see how He's been faithful throughout history, we can stand firm in knowing that He will be faithful even now. In the beginning, God spoke, and from nothing the universe was formed. He shaped the earth, set the stars in place, and breathed life into mankind. Even when humanity turned away, He did not abandon His creation. He made a promise of redemption because God is faithful. When the world was filled with violence and corruption, God saw one man who walked with Him. He warned Noah, shut him inside the ark, and sent the rain. But judgment was not the end of the story, because in the aftermath, a rainbow stretched across the sky, a covenant of mercy sealed forever. God remained faithful. Abraham and Sarah were too old to have children. The promise of a son seemed impossible, but God is not bound by human limitations. Against all odds, Sarah bore Isaac, and through their lineage, all nations would be blessed. God remained faithful. Betrayed by his brothers, thrown into a pit, and sold into slavery, Joseph had every reason to believe his life was over. But God was not finished. He raised Joseph from the prison to the palace, using what others meant for evil to save a nation. God remained faithful. For 400 years, the Israelites suffered under the weight of slavery. They cried out, and God heard. He sent Moses, parted the Red Sea, and led them through the wilderness. Though they doubted, though they wandered, though they rebelled, God fed them manna from heaven, made water flow from a rock, and kept their sandals from wearing out. God remained faithful. A young shepherd stood before a giant with nothing but a sling and faith in his God. Victory came not by strength, but by the power of the Lord. And even when David fell, even when he failed, God's promise to his throne never did. God remained faithful. Kings rose and fell, the people turned away, Israel was scattered in exile, and yet, through every warning and every call to repentance, God sent prophets to remind them a Messiah is coming. Even when judgment came, so did the promise, because God remained faithful. When the fullness of time had come, God sent His Son. Jesus walked among us. He healed the sick, calmed the storms, and revealed the heart of the Father. But He was betrayed, falsely accused, beaten, and nailed to a cross. The sky darkened, the earth shook. It looked like the end, but even in death, God remained faithful. On the third day, the stone was rolled away, because God's faithfulness does not end in the grave. The risen King appeared to His disciples, commissioning them to go and make more disciples. And from a handful of believers, the church was born. And from that church, the gospel spread to every nation. And today, we stand as proof, because God remains faithful. So what does this mean for us? It means that the same God who was faithful to Noah, Abraham, Joseph, Moses, David, the disciples, and so many more is the same God who is faithful to you. His mercies are new every morning. His steadfast love for you never ceases. His promises never fail, because great is God's faithfulness. So if God has never failed before, why would He fail you now?